We've all seen them. You know, those big flashy headlines that promise everything. Lose 10 pounds in 10 days.
Oh yeah, the 2-week shred.
Exactly. And they really tap into that deep desire for a quick result, that feeling that if you just go hard enough, fast enough, you can kind of skip the long, hard part.
It's the ultimate temptation, right? But then the other voice kicks in, the standard health advice we've heard for decades. Slow and steady wins the race.
And that's been the default advice from doctors forever. But you have to ask, I mean, if that gradual approach was really so effective for everyone, why is the obesity crisis, still a crisis?
That is the absolute core of what we're digging into today. Based on the research and clinical evidence we reviewed from Sundried, we're looking at what they call the kinetic paradox.
The kinetic paradox. Okay.
This idea that physiologically, the body might actually need a burst of speed to reset itself. But psychologically, the brain needs slow, deliberate time to actually change behaviors for good.
So it's not about speed being good or bad. It's about finding a strategy that uses both the sprint and the marathon.
Precisely. The mission here is to find the bridge between those two truths. And to even begin, we have to draw a really clear line, a firewall, really, between a clinical rapid loss protocol and just a dangerous crash diet.
Because people mix those two up all the time.
All the time, and that confusion is where the real danger is.
Okay, so let's start there. Let's define the terms. Clinically, what's gradual and what's rapid?
So standard medical definition for gradual weight loss is about 0.5 to 1.0 kilograms a week. So 1 to 2 pounds.
Right, the classic number.
Yeah, and rapid weight loss, or RWL, is anything that consistently goes beyond that, usually more than a kilo or about 1% of your total body weight per week.
And the main tool for that in a clinical setting is the very low-calorie diet, the VLCD. I think for a lot of people, that just sounds like starvation.
I get that. But the difference isn't the calorie count. It's the nutritional integrity. A VLCD is, yes, 800 kilocalories or less per day, but, and this is the critical part, it uses these total diet replacements.
So shakes, soups, bars, that kind of thing.
Exactly. And they are meticulously engineered to meet 100% of your reference nutrient intake for every essential vitamin, mineral, and, crucially, a very high dose of protein.
So you're getting all the nutrition you need just without the energy.
You're ensuring nutritional sufficiency inside a massive energy deficit. That's the key.
And that's the polar opposite of a crash diet, the juice cleanse or the Cabbage Soup Diet.
Oh, those are nutrient bankrupt. They're unsupplemented, dangerously low in protein, lacking in essential minerals like potassium. That's what leads to malnutrition, electrolyte imbalances, and, yeah, even potential cardiac events.
So you're comparing a precision medical instrument to just, well, a self-imposed famine.
They're in completely different universes from a safety perspective.
Okay, that distinction is paramount. Supervised, nutrient-complete speed versus just unstructured chaos. So let's challenge that old tortoise and hare story. Why does the sun-dried material suggest speed might actually be better for some people?
Well, let's start with the psychology of it. It's what they call the jumpstart effect.
The idea that if you lose it fast, you gain it back faster.
The data actually flips that script. A lot of studies now suggest that a greater initial weight loss is one of the strongest predictors of long-term success.
That seems so counterintuitive. Why?
It's about the effort-reward balance. Think about it. If you are turning your life upside down, putting in huge effort, and the scale only moves half a pound, it's demoralizing.
You feel like, what's the point?
Right, exactly. The dropout rates are huge. A rapid jumpstart loss gives you immediate, tangible proof that your effort is working. It builds self-efficacy, that I can actually do this feeling.
It gives you momentum.
Huge momentum. The TOR study they cited was a perfect example. The FAST group, over 50% of them maintained a 10% weight loss after 18 months. The SLOW group, less than 17%.
Wow, that's almost a threefold difference.
Just from the psychological power of that initial win.
Okay, so that's the psychological case. But it gets even stronger when we look at specific diseases, right? Like the surgical strike on type 2 diabetes.
This is maybe the most compelling argument for the VLCD model. The DIRECT trial, it's a landmark study. They used an 800 kilocal a day total diet replacement.
And the results?
Remission from type 2 diabetes in 46% of participants at 1 year. And for those who lost 15 kilos or more, about 33 pounds, the remission rate shot up to 86%.
86%.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So what is happening inside the body? This is Professor Roy Taylor's twin cycle hypothesis, right?
Right. So type 2 diabetes is primarily caused by an overflow of what's called ectopic fat. It's fat stored inside your organs, like the liver and pancreas, where it shouldn't be.
And it gums up the works.
It literally suffocates them. A rapid, deep energy deficit forces the body to mobilize that fat for fuel, and it prioritizes burning that dangerous organ fat first.
So it's like a targeted cleanup operation.
A very targeted one. The fat in the liver drains out first, and insulin sensitivity can normalize in just a matter of days. Then, the fat drains from the pancreas.
And that's what's so important.
That's the magic. The insulin-producing beta cells, which were basically dormant, they wake up and start working properly again. A slow diet often just doesn't create a sharp enough deficit to force that rapid mobilization.
So you need that velocity to really shock the system clean. Okay, let's tackle the question everyone's thinking. How on earth is severe restriction easier than moderate restriction? This is the hunger paradox.
Right, because it sounds crazy,
Yeah.
but a moderate diet, say 1,200 or 1,500 calories, can be, well, it can be metabolic purgatory.
I like that. Metabolic purgatory.
You're just in a state of constant gnawing hunger. You're eating enough carbs to feel deprived, but not enough to feel satisfied.
But a VLCD is way fewer calories. Why does the hunger go away?
Because of the severe carbohydrate restriction, you're pushed into a state of mild dietary ketosis in about 2 to 3 days. Your body starts producing ketone bodies for fuel.
Acetoacetate and beta-hydroxybutyrate.
Those are the ones,
Right.
and they act as powerful natural appetite suppressants. Patients on VLCDs consistently report that the food noise, that constant hunger, it quiets down significantly.
Okay, quick clarification then. What about the it's just water weight argument? Someone drops 8 pounds in a week?
And look, a large part of that initial drop is fluid. That's true. For every gram of glycogen you store in your muscles, you store 3 or 4 grams of water with it.
So when you burn through that glycogen,
The water is released. But that's not a bad thing. It has immediate clinical benefits. It lowers blood volume, which causes a sharp drop in blood pressure.
Yeah.
Many patients can reduce their blood pressure meds right away.
and after that first week,
After that initial whoosh, provided your protein intake is high, the subsequent loss is primarily from adipose tissue, from fat.
okay, so we've covered the huge upsides. But what about the risks? Even in a supervised setting, what's the biggest danger?
The most common serious complication is the formation of cholesterol gallstones.
Mhm.
The risk really climbs when weight loss exceeds about 1.5 kilograms a week. Some data suggests up to 12% of patients can develop new stones.
So why does losing fat fast cause gallstones?
It's something called the lithogenic triad. 3 things happen at once. First, as you rapidly break down fat, your liver processes all that cholesterol and dumps a supersaturated amount into your bile.
So the bile gets really thick with cholesterol.
Exactly. Second, VLCDs are very low in fat. You need dietary fat to trigger a hormone called CCK, which tells your gallbladder to contract and empty.
So no fat in the diet, no signal for the gallbladder to squeeze?
Right. It leads to biliary stasis. The bile just sits there, stagnant. And third, that stagnant, cholesterol-rich bile is the perfect environment for crystals to form and clump together into stones.
Which is why an unsupervised crash diet is so risky. You have no protection.
None. A clinical protocol will either require a minimum amount of fat, the Sundroid sources mention 7 to 10 grams a day, or sometimes medication to keep the gallbladder moving. It's a built-in safeguard.
Okay, let's move to the other big fear. Metabolic damage. This is all tied to losing muscle, right? Your resting metabolic rate.
Right. And let's be clear about one thing first. Your RMR will decrease with any weight loss. A smaller body simply needs less energy. That's unavoidable.
The danger is losing too much muscle along with the fat.
That's the real metabolic damage. Muscle is your engine. If you lose lean body mass, your daily calorie burn plummets beyond what's expected for your new size.
And the defense against that is the protein-sparing approach.
Yes, the protein-sparing modified fast, or PSMF. It's the whole foundation of a safe VLCD. If you don't eat enough protein, your body will break down its own muscle tissue to create the glucose your brain needs.
So you flood the system with protein?
Around 1.2 to 1.5 grams per kilogram of ideal body weight. It gives the body the amino acids it needs without having to scavenge them from your muscles.
But protein isn't a silver bullet, is it? You can't just drink shakes and keep your muscle.
Absolutely not. This is the non-negotiable part. Protein is the building material, but resistance training is the signal.
Lifting something heavy.
It sends a powerful signal through the MTOR pathway that tells your muscle, hey, we need you. Do not break yourself down. Without that signal, you risk becoming skinny fat.
Right, sarcopenic obesity, where you're smaller but have a much lower metabolic rate.
Which makes long-term maintenance almost impossible.
This also puts that famous Biggest Loser study into context, doesn't it? Everyone points to that as proof that rapid loss destroys your metabolism.
That study was a physiological outlier. I mean, these people were in a massive deficit and doing extreme exercise up to 7 hours a day. It triggered a unique survival response.
So it's not comparable to a standard VLCD protocol.
Not at all. Broader data shows that when total weight loss and muscle preservation are matched, the rate of loss itself doesn't seem to make a significant difference in metabolic adaptation.
Okay, so we've used speed to fix the body. Now we have to deal with the other side of the paradox, the mind. Why does the brain lag so far behind?
Because you can drain fat from your liver in a week, but you can't rewire decades of habits, coping mechanisms, and reward pathways in that time. The neural architecture is it's slower.
And this is where that whole 21 days to form a habit myth really hurts people.
It's a huge source of frustration. The actual research, like the Lally study from 2010, shows the average time to reach habit automaticity where it feels effortless is 66 days.
66. Wow.
And with a huge range, from 18 days all the way to 254. So a 12-week diet often ends before those new crucial habits are even close to being locked in.
You're left with this new, smaller body, but the same old psychological software, which makes you vulnerable to things like the what the hell effect.
Absolutely. When you're relying purely on white-knuckle willpower, a single slip-up, one cookie, can trigger a total collapse.
The thinking is, well, I've already blown it.
So I might as well eat the whole box.
Yeah.
It's that catastrophic all-or-nothing thinking that just fuels the binge-restrict cycle, which is one of the biggest predictors of regain.
You've lost the weight, but you haven't fixed the brain's relationship with food.
Exactly. You haven't rewired those reward pathways. That takes time and repetition. That takes neuroplasticity.
Which brings us to the unified solution, the biphasic model. You have the sprint, but then you need what you call the bridge to forever. Let's talk about the valley of death.
The valley of death is that transition period. It's the highest risk time. You're going from a super simple, structured VLCD environment back to the chaos and complexity of the real world.
Full of choices and triggers.
And physiologically, your hunger hormones might be elevated. Psychologically, all your old cues are still there. It's a perfect storm for regain.
So how does the bridge protocol, the step down, get you across that valley safely?
It's a slow, structured realimentation phase, usually lasting 4 to 8 weeks. You don't just jump from all shakes to all food.
You do it gradually.
Very gradually. Week 1, you might replace one shake with one solid balanced meal. The next week, 2, you're providing scaffolding.
That's so smart. You're only having to practice one new skill at a time, shopping for and preparing one healthy meal instead of being overwhelmed.
It's psychological scaffolding, and it's key. The research shows longer refeeding periods are strongly linked with better long-term maintenance. And this is also when you have to build your mental muscle.
This is where something like cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, comes in.
Exactly. CBT teaches you how to think about food, not just what to eat. It helps you catch those sabotaging thoughts.
So instead of, I had a donut, I'm a failure.
You learn to replace it with an adaptive thought. Like, okay, that happened, I'm in charge, and I can get right back on track with my next meal. It builds resilience.
It reframes obesity as a chronic condition you manage, not a cold you cure.
That's the perfect way to put it. It's a model of remission and management which requires ongoing support.
This has been amazing. It really is a false choice between fast and slow. You need both.
Yeah.
Let's wrap up with the key actions from the sun-dried material based on this biphasic model.
Okay, 4 critical pillars. First, prioritize high protein intake, always. Sprinting or walking, protect that muscle.
Number 2.
Lift something heavy. Resistance training is non-negotiable for keeping that metabolic engine revving.
Third, and this one feels like the secret sauce, plan your exit protocol before you even start losing weight. If you don't know how you're getting out, you're set up to fail.
Absolutely. And fourth, track your habits, not just your weight. Focus on the process. Am I hitting my protein? Am I lifting? That's what builds that 66-day automaticity.
So the synthesis is just so powerful. Use supervised speed to heal the body, get the ectopic fat out, and boost your motivation. Then use structured time to train the mind and build the habits. The danger was never the speed itself.
The danger is the absence of that bridge to the rest of your life.
So as a final thought for you to take with you from this deep dive, try to stop thinking of yourself as someone who is either on a diet or off a diet.
Adopt the identity that maintenance requires.
Exactly. Tell yourself, I'm an athlete who is successfully managing my health. And then ask, what is the one single habit, related to food or movement that you will commit to mastering over the next 66 days, no matter what the scale says.
That commitment to the process. That's how you turn the sprint into a true marathon.